Welcome back to the Almost Tipsy Vegan. Today we're going to be making some spaghetti. It's a vegan spaghetti, and we're going to use some ingredients that you may not have ever thought about before, but it's going to end up being really, really good. So I've already got some stuff prepped to save a little bit of time. Uh, we're not going to be using any oil today, and not any added oil, but we're going to start out. I've chopped up half of an onion. We're going to put it in the frying pan and just let it start simmering just a little bit, because to me that adds a bit more flavor. And while the frying pan's still getting hot, I wanted to show you a little tip that we use for tofu. Okay, this tofu, I've already got one of them done here, but you put it in the freezer, let it freeze, then you take it out of the freezer and let it defrost. We just put it in a drain, or you put it in a towel or whatever. Once it's defrosted, you put it back in the freezer and then let it defrost again. But I'm going to show you how it works. The water comes out so good without any effort. And we got this tip from YouTube. I don't know who did it, but whoever did it, thank you. It made our lives so much easier. But you see the water, it comes out, and then you just squeeze it. Do you see that water coming out? You just squeeze it out so good, and there you got it. Almost no effort whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to give the onions a few more seconds just to brown up a little bit, and then I'm going to put the tofu in there. Okay, now while this is browning just a little bit, I always cook with some sort of alcohol. And for this spaghetti, we're going to be using wine. Now, a lot of people use cooking wine, but why put something in there you really don't want to drink? So we're using this is a cab Cabernet Sauvignon. Uh, so we always drink on the show too. So we're going to start out with the toast. I gotta save some for the spaghetti, but I actually painted this cup. Do you like it? Just something funky. Okay, so really good. Now, some people put sugar in spaghetti. That's not my taste. If it's your taste, you may want to use a sweet wine instead of a cab. Okay, so we're going to keep this from sticking, we're going to put a little bit of wine in here. And that helps a lot. Now, the next thing we're going to put in here is, let me get this off, put it back over here right now. We're going to put a bed of 3 cloves of minced garlic. You probably can't see it, but there's three cloves right there. We can put it in there and let it brown just a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to put in there is we're going to put the tofu. Now, the tofu, we're using that today, but a lot of times we'll soak some lentils and put lentils in there, and the lentils work out as well as the tofu. So all we're doing right now is just crumbling up the tofu. And so this will get a lot of flavor cooking in with the onions and the wine. And this comes out to be 1 block of tofu. Like a 15 ounce, 14, that's 14 ounce right there, block of tofu. So we're going to add that. And I like to let that cook a little bit by itself because it kind of toughens it up a little bit. Now we're using extra firm tofu today, but if you wanted to do firm, and also the freezing changes the texture a little bit of it, makes it a little bit more rigid, a bit more tough. So that's just a little tip too. Let's add some more wine so it doesn't stick. And stir that around just a little bit. And that wine also gives it the red sauce, red coloring, but we're going to add so much sauce in here, it's going to be with so much flavor. Okay, so the next thing we're going to add, because it is wanting to stick just a little bit, but it's not bad, we're going to add 1 diced up carton of mushrooms. Mushrooms have a lot of water in them, and once they start cooking down, a lot of water will be released. So we're putting the mushrooms in there, and that's going to add a lot of earthy flavoring to it. Okay, so we're going to let that cook just for a second. Stir that around. And then we're going to start adding the tomato sauce and a lot of the herbs. We're going to add some herbs in here today that you may not have thought about. So let's go and add those, let them start cooking together. First of all, I've got about a 1/4 cup of fresh basil I chopped. We picked it up at our garden today. So that's fresh basil. If you don't have fresh basil, use dried basil, but you just have to use a whole lot more of it. The other thing is we're going to add a little bit of beet and carrots. I was talking to an actual person from Italy, and for some reason they put a lot of carrots in there in their spaghetti. I didn't know that, but she told me that. And I'm using beets for blood pressure. And guys, I'll just say, y'all can thank me later for eating beets, and women, y'all can thank me later too. So anyway, that's going in there. It's going to turn it a red color, and it's all cooking together. Okay, now then, one thing y'all may not have ever added before is I got about a teaspoon of fresh rosemary. We're putting the rosemary in there because it gives it just an extra depth of flavoring. The other thing we're going to add that y'all may not have thought about is this is about 1 inch of minced up turmeric. Okay, turmeric is great anti-inflammatory, and it adds just another depth of flavoring. So we'll add that in there. Okay, and then we're going to add, this is a 1/2 of a red bell pepper, diced up. We can add that in there, let it be simmering. And then we're going to stir it again, make sure it's not sticking. And you see, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but the mushrooms are now giving off, there's plenty of water in there. The mushrooms are releasing their liquid and starting to cook down really good. Okay, now then, we're going to go ahead and add, this is just lower sodium pasta sauce. We can use this up, just pour it in there. And to get it all out, we're going to add wine to the jar. We're going to shake it around. And pour the extra wine in here. Try to get all the goodies from the jar. If we do that again, and we need more liquid. Okay. Now then, we're going to add that's about a quarter of a tube of tomato paste. The tomatoes add a lot of health benefits. The lycopene in there, and the more you cook it, the better off it gets. So we're going to add a lot of tomato paste. We like ours real tomatoey. If you don't like tomatoes quite as much, don't put as much in there. Now again, if you like it sweet, use a sweet wine. Some people add sugar. I don't like it sweet. I like a lot of bite in my spaghetti. So we're going to add just a little bit of vinegar in here. You give it a little bit of bite. I mean, pour a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then we're going to add, to make it healthy, it's already very healthy, we're going to add a bag of chopped spinach. We're going to put that in there because we're here to be healthy. And again, we want to get all the good out of there. So I probably shouldn't do this, but pour a little bit of wine in there. I probably should have used water in case for when I spill it. So we get all the good out of there. Throw that away because I don't want that getting on the floor. Now we're going to start adding, this is just an organic, no salt seasoning. Again, we like a lot of spices in our food. So I tell you what, that didn't work too well. So I'm going to take the top off. And we're going to put about 1, 2. It's really got a lot of flavor coming in. Make me start sneezing. Okay. Now one more thing we're going to add is a little bit of cocoa. Cocoa gives it just another depth of flavor. So we're not going to add a lot. We're going to add, let's see, 1 teaspoon. Just a little bit. Again, they give us a little bit of flavor, a little more flavor. It's already got a lot of flavor. And then we can stir that up, make sure it's not sticking, but you can see the liquid coming out of here. It's cooking really good. This is going to be so good. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some over to our neighbors tonight. They had a bad fall, and her husband didn't know how to cook at all. So guys or girls, if one of y'all don't know how to cook at all, y'all please learn how to cook a little bit just to get by. Because he couldn't even turn on a microwave. He didn't know how to do anything. So just be warned, you never know when you're going to need to do something for yourself. Okay, now, normally, I like fresh ingredients, but being dried, this is oregano. We're going to put a good bit of oregano in there because, again, we like a lot of flavor. 1, 2, 3, 3.5. So we got basil, oregano, we got beets, we got carrots, we got wine, we got no salt seasoning. Okay, now also this really makes it a lot of depth in there. If we're going to add a 1/2 cup of chopped walnuts, this will give it a little bit of crunch, a lot more texture. And that's just one of the key ingredients, I think. And get all that in there. Now, as y'all were waiting for me to get on today, I use this grater right here to grate the turmeric and the garlic. And you see there's a lot left on there right now, so we're going to clean it off. We're going to pour some of the wine on there to wash it off. And we're going to get all the good off of it that we can. Okay, so that washed off. So, and I'm missing this right here. We're going to add another jar. Again, that's if it's low sodium tomato basil tomato sauce. We're going to add this in here. May not get it all in there, so it's getting pretty full now. But I'll leave part of it out in case we need it later. We're going to stir it up. All these, I wish y'all could really smell this. It smells really, really good. So we're going to let it simmer for a few minutes. Now, one ingredient I've not added, which we don't need a lot of, but I've not added any salt yet, but I'm going to add a little bit of salt now. Just a little bit of salt, because our neighbors may like a lot of salt, I don't know. Uh-oh. That's another blooper, isn't it? So that top one to get that spaghetti sauce too. So here it is, cooking. We got tomato sauce, we got spinach, we got rosemary, we've got basil, walnuts, tofu, mushrooms, and y'all see how good that looks. I hope y'all can see it on the camera. We're going to add some more wine on here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is we're going to just let this simmer for a little bit. I don't want to keep y'all tied up watching this, so we're going to let it simmer. I'll come back and add wine as needed, and we'll come back in a little bit and show you what it looks like after it's been cooking for, we'll let it cook for probably about an hour to get all the ingredients all meshed, whatever you want to call it, together. And the longer it cooks, the better it will be. So y'all take care. When we come back, we will cook some pasta. Show you how to cook pasta. Okay? Okay, while y'all were gone, you can see this has been simmering. I have added more salt to it, so I did taste of it. And we've almost finished a whole bottle of wine in there. Well, we don't finish there, we'll have here. I'll tell you what, I'll share with the spaghetti. I'll give it a little bit. The whole bottle's gone. Okay. Now, one thing I like to add toward the end is I'm going to add some nutritional yeast. It gives it kind of a little bit of cheesier flavor. Just again, just another layer of flavor, and a little bit more vitamins and everything. So I've added that. Now we're going to take some out and put in the bowl here for our neighbors. Be stirred up first, and then we're going to add the noodles to the spaghetti. The noodles have been simmering. They're back behind me in the stove back here. They've been simmering or cooking for about almost 8 minutes now. So I'm going to go take care of that. But it should be ready right now. So I'm going to put some of the neighbors in here so they'll have something to eat tonight and make room for our noodles. So that's what we're doing right now. And that's probably enough for them, but just 2 of them. I'm going to add the noodles. I'm going to drain the noodles in the sink. There's a strainer here, so I'm not just pouring it in the sink. You see the strainer. Turn the stove off. And pour it in here. And then we're going to give the neighbors some. I don't know if you can see this or not. Get this bottle out of the way. And some of y'all will probably turn over because I broke the noodles up into 4 pieces out of the box. It's just plain old box noodles, nothing special. And really having a hard time getting them out. But anyway, that's what we're doing right now. That's a good scoop. We'll give them more, but I just want to show you. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It used to be to keep from making a big mess. I'm going to put the noodles into the bowl here and put it straight into the spaghetti. Well, actually, I can just pour it in here like this. And we'll save these for our neighbors. And then we're going to stir it all together. Now, before we eat this, we're going to, my wife made a homemade vegan Parmesan. So we're going to sprinkle some of that on here before we eat it. I don't have her recipe. She won't give it to me, but it tastes really good. So anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. I apologize for all the ingredients and the long time, but it does taste really good. I have tasted of it. So I hope y'all enjoy. Again, I'm almost tipsy vegan.